Picture this. You're checking out online. You've got a $20 shirt sitting in your cart, and right below the price is a little button that says Pay in 4. 4 payments of $5. That feels like nothing. So you click it. And while you're there, you grab 2 more shirts because, hey, it's only $5 a payment. You walk away feeling like you spent $20. You actually spent $60. And here's the part that should bother you. You never felt the moment you decided to triple your bill. There was no flinch, no hesitation, no little voice asking if you were sure. Where did that voice go? Because you have that voice. Everyone does. That Pay in 4 button successfully bypassed your conscious decision-making to switch off a real biological signal. And the strangest thing is, it turned off your natural defenses with your full cooperation. To understand what happened, we have to start with the signal itself. Spending money hurts. Not your feelings, your brain. Behavioral economists call this the pain of paying, and it is a measurable neurological response. When researchers put people inside a brain scanner, a specific region lit up the moment a price felt too high, the anterior insula. When you overpay, your brain fires the same alarm used when you stub your toe. For most of human history, that little sting was a gift. Every time you handed over a 20, you felt the money leave. That physical sensation kept people from spending themselves into a hole without anyone needing to do math or track a budget. The pain did the work. It functioned as a built-in financial brake. But if the brake is built in, why doesn't it save you at checkout? It turns out that brake only functions when the payment and the purchase happen at the exact same moment. The pleasure and the pain have to be locked together. The second you separate those 2 moments, the brake slips. That is exactly what credit cards did first. They separated the purchase from the payment, pushing the cost away into a statement you wouldn't see for weeks. In lab studies, scientists gave people identical shopping choices, changing only whether they paid with cash or a card. The cash group behaved like careful shoppers. With physical money in hand, they consistently gravitated toward the safe, middle-tier options. But the card group drifted toward the more expensive, flashier options. Because the price no longer physically hurt, they focused entirely on what they were getting rather than what they were giving up. Take a look at this chart showing how different types of spenders reacted. The people who naturally felt payment pain the most, the careful savers, show the largest spike right here. Their behavior changed the most when they switched from cash to a card. This suggests that tools which remove payment friction are particularly effective against the people whose biological brakes were previously protecting them. When you remove the sting, the people with the most caution lose the most defense. Now imagine someone looked at the credit card and thought, we can push this further.
We can decouple the payment 4 separate times. That is buy now, pay later. Let's see how this works for a careful shopper. Meet Marcus. He's looking at a pair of headphones for $160. Paying full price today, he hesitates. $160 carries real weight. His insula does its job and he almost closes the tab, but he sees the Pay in 4 option. The checkout tool shatters that heavy price into 4 light pieces. $40 feels cheap, so he hits buy. He grabs a case and earbuds. Over 6 weeks, $320 quietly drains in tiny deductions. There's a second trick here. When you split a price into installments, your brain perceives the structure as 4 minor, lightweight decisions. The total debt obligation never fully lands in your mind. Buy now, pay later scatters the pain of paying into pieces so tiny they become invisible. It allows people to enter overlapping cycles of debt without ever experiencing a single moment of conscious realization. We tend to explain overspending as a character flaw. We say people spend too much because they lack discipline, or they're impulsive, or they have a willpower problem. But remember the lab studies. The people whose behavior changed the most weren't unusually impulsive. They were the careful, disciplined savers. Their defense was built on a specific biological signal, and these tools were built to turn that signal off. The checkout screen was designed to bypass a survival mechanism that your brain has spent millions of years refining. When you understand how the exploit works, you can stop focusing on willpower and start focusing on the system. You cannot outmuscle a system built to slip right under the muscle. You beat it by manually reinstalling the pain of paying, intentionally adding friction back into the checkout process. Rule number 1 is the pay in full rule. Force yourself to look at the final total.
If you can't comfortably pay the entire price today, you can't afford it yet. Making yourself look at the largest number available allows the anterior insula to do its job. Rule number 2 is the 24-hour pause. Installment plans work by collapsing the distance between wanting something and owning it. By walking away from your cart for a day, you allow emotional purchase spikes to fade, often making the desire disappear entirely. Rule number 3 is to call it debt. You must treat every installment plan as borrowed money. Even without interest, you have to write down, track, and budget that obligation as a real liability. These tools rely on their invisibility to slide under your financial radar. Dragging the numbers into the light strips them of their psychological power. By adopting these 3 habits, you manually rebuild the friction that the checkout process is trying to erase. You move the decision-making back to where it belongs, with you, rather than the design.